The recorder? Okay. Calling this meeting to order, please. And first thing we have, we don't have that. I gotta get all right. I'm looking here. Do we have informational items? Okay. Thank you. If you'll take that one, then Scott.
Happy to, Mr. Chairman. So if you remember, committee members, at your regular meeting a couple weeks ago, you approved an item passed out of committee with one abstention, which is a bid award for tamper-proof sprinkler heads replacement at the Juvenile Detention Center. During the debate at the committee meeting, Member Ruland asked some really good questions regarding that project. If you recall, the loan bid was from a local company of PIPCO. What you approved in committee, or I should say what passed out of committee is probably the best way to say it, what was written up was two things. One, there was a mathematical error in the original write-up that was $10,000 greater than actual. So the project is $10,000 less, and that's reflected in the materials in your packet right now and what will be in your packet for the full board meeting. Additionally, there are some questions about, in the write-up, we had talked about roughly a cost for 6 incidences where sprinkler heads were broken by juvenile detainees. That was approximately $8,900. There are some questions as to whether or not that was a unit cost per incident, or if that was the all-in cost for all 6 of those incidents over the last 18 months. Upon a little bit further investigation, that's the total cost of the JDC for all 6 combined. It is a total cost. When you include some things that were not in the JDC budget or the JDC might not have seen, were still less than $10,000 for all 6 incidents in terms of what the remediation costs are. And then third, there was question about the source of funds for this project. And working with the chief judge and Mark and Calvin, working with Brian Brown and Ryan Breedlove, we are going to change the source of funds for this project from the Capital Project Fund to the Juvenile Detention Center Fund. There is room within their remaining FY23 appropriation to cover this expense. So no budget amendment is needed. The revised resolution that's in this packet as an informational item and the county board packet denotes that the source of funds will be from the Juvenile Detention Center Fund. So there's adequate funds. The line item that's in the JDC budget is a capital line item because this is not a personnel cost or a commodity cost or something like that. It is a capital expense, but it's within the JDC budget and not the capital project fund. So I know Mark is here to answer any questions you might have. I would, Mr. Chairman, before I stop talking, I would just add a couple of more data points because there are some questions about, well, we've only spent roughly $9,000 or thereabouts to date on remediation. That is a pretty small cost because not in of those 6 incidences, not every one of them was in an area of the general detention center that required a significant amount of remediation. However, there is an operational cost for each one of those incidences that really has not had a dollar value affixed to it, and that includes having then the sprinkler system drained, which also means that HVAC is taken offline, and when you look at the operational impact of that, the jail detention center operates under a set of regulations from the state that those types of systems can be offline for only a certain amount of time, and so while there is overtime costs built into that and accounted for in that roughly $9,000, the regulatory impacts is not calculated. And I think Mr. Breedlove already had a vacation scheduled, so he's not able to be here tonight. But had he been here, he would have basically done a much better job of explaining that last point better than me, because operationally it's his building and he's as the superintendent. But in a nutshell, that's a summary of what's in the informational item. We're happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
Questions? All right.
Go over here, Phil.
Okay, Terry?
I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you to staff for rearranging this thing the way they did. Worked out well.
I think it certainly did. The way you explained it, coming out of their budget and money that was left over from last year and so forth, I totally agree. Anybody else with a comment or question before I call the question? All those in favor, signify by. I guess we don't need any.
No, it's just an informational item.
I'm asking him, but okay. All right, we'll move on to our first resolution and only resolution, because I think a lot of people thought we were going to have 2 resolutions. But anyway, we need a motion on this first motion by Betty, seconded by Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our annual request for quotations from vendors for materials used at the Highway Department. I realize the print's pretty small. If you'd like a larger copy, I'm happy to get that printed out for you. What we do is we receive quotations for just about any possible material we might need at the Highway Department, and we only purchase what we need. Even though there's a lot of numbers here, we're just trying to anticipate what we might need in the upcoming year. We only purchase what we need. We previously, through the board, received appropriation for materials for next calendar year, but we have to, as per IDOT, we have to receive the quotations and make the board aware of the vendors that we will be working with next year. So happy to try to answer any questions for this.
Questions? And I know, having worked with you, Amy, over the last few years, you're good about, I think getting local people and so forth. And I always, get a little bit startled when I see people from Ohio and Texas and so forth. That doesn't create a problem for you in getting the material. Am I right?
We try to use the ones that are going to be operationally better for us, the ones that are closer, or the ones that can get us the product as we need as quickly as possible. But we do have the other ones as a fallback in case there's challenges with availability.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor of the adoption of this resolution upon their recommendation, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on, do we have any public comment? No public comment. How about miscellaneous? Okay, we'll have this meeting adjourned.